Doing? What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Time for a little Sunday simulcast. I'm not going to be working on this samurai. I'm actually just checking to see, make sure I'm going to be in focus with what I'm working on tonight. Okay. Things might get a little bit choppy here. So please bear with. There we go. Looks good. Okay. Alright. Hope you guys are having a good evening. We'll wrap up to our weekend here. Alright, and now we're going to check out how things look on the YouTube side, okay? So if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. We're going to switch gears tonight and actually work on a commission. So, view status looks good. Let's see how my sound goes. Hey, what's up, guys? You got your Nasir. What's up, Congo? Alright, so here's what we're going to be working on tonight. This came in on commission. Aristeia, this is the new Corvus Belly game. It's kind of their sports game. You should be painting blacksmiths and poxwalkers. You should be, man. Blacksmiths are dope. So let's go ahead and pop these open. These are actually the collector's edition. This is a collector's edition of the game. So this is a metal. These are metal models, as opposed to the plastic models that come with the base game. So set those aside for a minute, and we're going to work on the time critical piece right now, which is we're going to be stamping the bases here. Oh, these are odd. So I think these are a little bit bigger than a standard 25mm base. Let's just pull the little cruds off them. So you got 8 of these. Ooh. So tonight, the goal is just to get these built, maybe primed, for lucky. But you know, we like to overachieve. If we can go farther, we will. I can't stay up that late though, because I've got to get up tomorrow around 4:30 a.m. Drive out to Palm Desert. Whoa. It's about a 2.5-hour drive from here. Actually, it's closer to 3 hours because I have to go backtrack, go to Costa Mesa, pick up the team, and then from there go. Alright, had a productive birthday. Happy birthday. You worked, had chicken and dumplings. Ooh. Baked pineapple, bread pudding, won a coupon code for Tectonic Craft Studios. So you're gonna buy, oh, TCS is dope. I like them. They come every year to Kingdom Con. They made me a couple of custom badges when I was a staff at Kingdom Con. Good guys. All right. So this is gonna be a little interesting to gauge how much I need here. I'm just gonna guess as you do. Figure if I make this about that much for half. Nasir did well today. They won the Wrath of Kings tournament that I played in today. Phil, the other guy from the other Play It Painting guy that you guys know about, he won the tournament and he beat me in order to win the tournament. I finished second today and got a cool little silver medal out of it. But yeah, he did a great job. Our game was super close. He won our game 1-0, and it was the difference of one model, you know, for the tie. But yeah, congratulations to Phil. Did a great job, and yeah, Phil's a good guy. I feel like I actually won because he printed me a modular building for Batman. So he got a really cool gold medal and a bunch of accolades from the rest of the Wrath of Kings players here. So congrats to Phil. And I'm just gonna say, the Play It Painting guys, we placed first and second was great. Also want to thank Andrew for hosting the tournament. Super fun. It was so cool because I haven't played in a competitive event, or I'm sorry, an organized play event like that in some time, where it's super relaxed. Everybody who showed up was deeply cool, you know what I mean? And the whole vibe was pretty laid back. You know, you think about a tournament or whatever, and it just wasn't. It just didn't feel like that. It was way cooler than in you know, your average tournament. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough here to do. These are, well, actually I probably will. Yeah, but Phil did a great job. I'll go over my list and my games. There were, let's see, 1, 2, 3 Goritzy players today. Goritzy, very popular. 3 Goritzy players today. There were 2 Nasir players, and then I was the only Shailhan player. So that was the spread. We played 3 rounds, and we were playing the skirmish level rules. So that was cool. I need more. Yeah, I'm not gonna have enough to do. What a mess. Hold on. Yeah, I need a little bit more than that for what I'm trying to do. No, actually, probably not. But I am gonna have to make more. Let's get these underway. It's good, like tournaments like that where everybody that shows up is freaking cool is awesome. You know, I've played games with the guys that showed up are guys that I game with regularly, with the exception of Phil. Actually, you know, Phil and I talk all the time. We work on projects together. He picks up commissions and stuff as part of Play It Painted, and he helps design a lot of our stuff. But we don't actually get to game together much, and that's that's the shame of it all, right? It's like, man, you know, we're both working on this together, and he's actually designing. He's designed a really cool like tank battle game. But at the end of the day, Phil and I only get to play together like, you know, once, maybe twice a year. You know, usually Kingdom Con and his birthday. You usually can't. A lot of times, like, I'll throw events and see if he can make it down, but it's quite a trek. Like, it's almost 2 full hours for him to get down from North LA to Orange County. And you know, he's got a little 2-year-old as well, so he has a lot of the same struggles I have trying to free up time. I know it put it into perspective though, right? It always seems like I always feel like I don't get to do as much as I want to do, gaming wise. But you know, forget who I was talking to about this the other day. I get a lot more gaming opportunities than guys that, you know, have quote unquote a lot less going on in their lives. So I gotta be grateful for that, man. Like there's something to be said about. But yeah, Phil did a great job. Like I said, I was playing Shilhan. The list I was playing was very close to the stuff I played last night against Andrew, and last night was crazy. Like those were really lopsided games. Today there really weren't a lot of lopsided games. My first game, for example, I played against Chris, and we played. He played Garitzi, and kind of a good mix, like a good balance, like werewolf vampire list. And that game came down to the wire. That game, I barely won that. I won that 0 to -1. I scored a bunch of points early, and then I had like a 3 or 4 point lead going into the final turn, and I just had to live. That's it. I had to live it. And Chris needed to kill one more model. Well, it's always that way, right? To tie and get me down to -1. But he did a fantastic job. I don't know. I managed to get. I was doing disrupt supply lines, and you know, my Shilhan list is deceptively fast, but it's kind of a matador defense, right? It's dependent on people coming up and hitting, trying to attack me, and I have a number of like really slippery characters. So you know, he managed to get into my lines, and him getting into my lines allowed me to kind of, you know, through evasion and through the training that I ran, allowed me to sneak past his front line, because, you know, Garitzi comes at you super fast. So, you know, barely pulled off that first game, which was cool. And then the second game is the game I ran into Phil. So I just stuck with the same crew, and I think the second game I had escort civilians, and I'm terrible at that. I've never won a game of escort civilians. I'm just not very good at that, which is interesting because I should be with Shilhan. Shilhan, you can play fairly mobile, but yeah, I had escort civilians. Phil had hold your ground or stand your ground. Stand your ground is ridiculously strong if you understand how it works, and if you have the right type of wall unit, because you can potentially gain 6 VP in one shot. And Phil nearly got 6 VP off me in one shot. And that was pretty crippling. I managed to get 2 civilians into the backfield, and then almost had the last one in, but I was out of time. I couldn't get her back there, so I was just playing for tie. And if I was gonna, you know, I was hoping if I was able to play for tie, then I could, you know, get that last prisoner back there, force a -2, and then just try to hang on and win by points. Didn't work out that way because, you know, Phil was really nice. He hit me with a really timely shield bash as I was trying to sneak the last the last civilian into the backfield. You're already thinking about what faction you want as your second. Well, if you're taking Nasir, Nasir is a fairly aggressive style army. Good, you know, really strong infantry. So, you know, you really can't go wrong picking any of the other factions. It depends on, you know, what aesthetic you really like. First and foremost, I would say. That's the most important thing, if you ask me. Right? The most important thing when you're selecting a faction for a game. I know everyone talks about playstyle, mechanics, playstyle. Nah, man. Most important thing is you gotta like the theme of your army. Seriously. Because if you like the theme of your army, then the playstyle tends to match your expectation of that. If it's a decently designed game. You know? There are some crap games that may not be so cool. Honkays! Shailhan is, hey, you know, you're in the right place if you want to talk Shailhan. What's up, Greenleaf? Yeah. You know me, man. I love my Chinaman. I love Shailhan. You know, Nasir has really strong individual troops that you set up those troops in packages, and you have troops that are attackers, you have troops that are defenders like tar pits, and that's kind of how they work, right? Nasir, if you ask me, Nasir's strength is in the ability of those troops and placing them where you need them, because they're good at their jobs. In Nasir, the troop is designed for something, and it's good at that something. Shailhan is kind of the opposite of that.
Can you feel it?
The Chinaman is not the issue here. Death Blossom and Red Willow look cool. Yeah, so if Nasir is about the strength of the troops, Shailhan, and I'm talking the base Shailhan, I'm not talking Celestials yet, because I really don't have experience playing them yet. I just got my Celestials in this week, and maybe once this is over, this commission's over, I can start working on those. But that's almost like a totally separate army, right? Celestials work very different than the standard Dragon Legion bat-based Shailhan armies. And right now, most Shailhan armies are Dragon Legion based. Or I should say Enlightenment based, right? Shailhan are essentially the Space Marines, good at everything and great at none. You know, they're described that way. I guess yes, you can describe them that way, but I tend to look at Shailhan as really the synergy faction. Shailhan's strength is in the specialists and insights, and again, with the caveat that we're really talking Enlightenment army. We're not talking Celestials. We're not, you know, when I say Enlightenment army, I'm talking about the 3 Book 1 troops, right? Dragon Legion, Children, and the Lotus Warriors. Those are Enlightenment, and we call them Enlightenment troops because they benefit from offensive and defensive insights. And most of the time, it's going to be specialists that give you those offensive and defensive insights. So that's why I'm saying very different army. Whereas Celestials, they don't really... Celestials are... they don't use insights. Celestials are just kind of stronger individuals, and they have their own tricks and abilities and that kind of stuff. Oh god, I hate this song. I really need to take this stupid song off the playlist. What the honk is all about the honkies. I looked at Technies. Moose Boy and the Butchers look cool. Cameron says I'd go Technus and Nasir. Piggies and Thickies. That's kind of a cool compliment. Because Nasir tends to be more on the offensive side of the spectrum. And Technus is more on the defensive side of that spectrum. What the heck is that? So, honestly, the simplified way to look at the factions, the 5 factions in Wrath of Kings, and again, the caveat is this is book 1. Book 2 did change some of this a little bit. Book 2 kind of rounded out the factions a bit. But if you were to put Goritzi on one side of a scale in terms of pure offense, right? Goritzi is the speed, hitting power, the offensive faction. You put them on one side of the scale, and on the other side of the scale you put Hadros. Tanky, defensive, that kind of thing. And then you put Shilhan in the dead center of that, right? Then you have Nasir out more towards the Goritzi side, so more aggressive play, and then Technus more on the Hadros side. So I hope that helps, But again, ultimately, play what looks cool. That's what I always say. So we're just doing random diamond plate. Gotta use more. Gotta use more of this actual stamp. Okay, so if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. This is Simulcast Sunday, where I am both on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So just let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. I understand there's a little bit of a jumpiness around this simulcast. I'm trying to reduce the simulcast because I was doing too many simulcasts, and I realize it does affect the video quality and to a certain degree the sound quality as well. But I love my audiences. I'll leave Twitch on for a little bit. If nobody ends up watching it on Twitch, I'll shut down just to increase the efficiency here on YouTube. I hope you guys do me a favor and let me know if I'm suffering from some audio issues. I'm gonna give this a minute to dry. So 1 second, guys. Guess Adam had to pull away. Alright, let's get a look at the metal while all this stuff is drying. Woo! Yeah, that's always the time critical stuff. Big old shield, I believe, goes on this dude. And then she looks like she's kind of leaning on something. A little bit of cleanup to do on these. Oh, that's a sick mini. Let me see if I can... Sorry, that's a cool one too. It's a cool Yu Jing type character. Just trying to pull a little bit of the flash off these. Oh, I hate that when the sword is bent several directions. It's so scary. You don't want to snap the sword here. So you kind of gotta be really gentle when you're doing this kind of stuff. And it never quite gets 100% straight again. Problem is, Gritzy, Technus, and Shale all have minis I like. The game is fairly affordable though, so at some point you can dabble in the 4. Yeah, you can dabble in the 4. I think the main issue is not going to be the cost. And here's something I was thinking about today. It's not a new thought for me, but it's one that crosses my mind from time to time. You know, you always hear when you're talking about miniature games and whether or not you should take up a miniature game, you should adopt a miniature game, right? You always hear people say, "Oh, I can't really afford another miniature game. I can't really afford to get into this miniature game." And it's always sort of understood that we're talking about the monetary cost. But one thing I always think gets overlooked is time, right? Yeah, the main issue is time. Do you really have the bandwidth to play all these games? And I'm not even only talking about the amount of time you might have on a particular evening. I'm talking about the time period to learn the game, to study the game, to keep up with the announcements and errata and FAQ, the kind of time you need to build the terrain and the boards, and the kind of time you need to build a community, like in the case of Wrath of Kings, where it's, yeah, you know, we like the game, but right now there's an invisible presence playing it. We know that there are some people playing it, but sometimes it's hard to hook up with those people. You know, and you could say the same about Guild Ball in this region. You could say the same about Batman. You know, it takes us. So we save time versus 40k. I always just use 40k as the benchmark, but versus 40k, there are going to be things where we are very time efficient. These boutique games are very time efficient, and then there are times, there are going to be other instances where the GW side is more time efficient. You know, the easiest example for an example of GW being more time efficient than say, I don't know, this game, Corvus Belli, Aristeia, is in gaming communities, right? It's much easier to just walk into a hobby store and say, hey, I play 40k. Anyone else want to play 40k with me? You know, you're going to have a much higher, it's going to be a much higher chance that you run into somebody that in fact does play 40k. Or, you know, when you go to a tournament, you can expect a reasonably good turnout compared to everything else that's going on in that hobby store. You know, the other games that you would put in that category would be stuff like Magic, D&D, X-Wing. You know, those are games that have, you know, regular attendees, a solid community around. You have enough interest in those games that you're going to save time looking for a game. Theoretically, I don't play those games anymore. So maybe I'm like dead freaking wrong. Maybe. But that's as I see it, you know. Like today we were playing a Wrath of Kings tourney. We had 6 people playing Wrath of Kings, which is fantastic, right? If you threw a 40K tournament in that store and only 6 people showed up, it would be fairly sad. Like, people would go, oh, how come nobody plays 40K in this store? But you get 6 people for Wrath of Kings and like, oh my god, we got people playing Wrath of Kings, you know? It's all about the expectation there. I don't even know what this is or where it goes. Alright, let's try to figure out what these look like. I'm gonna Google some images of the miniatures here. So I'm gonna go Aristeia. Alright. Let's have a look at the miniatures. Okay. Okay. So this guy has... What is... I don't even understand. Okay. So that goes like that, right? A big dude. So this is like this. And I guess those are just tags. Why did that have to be a separate piece? Okay. Same can't. Okay. Nah. 40K Magic Gate, the X-Wing community are the powerhouses. Yeah, there's the anomaly shop where people don't play, but if you find 40K in X-Wing tabletop stores. Yeah. Right. But what I'm saying is, you know, it takes more time for us to enjoy these games from a community standpoint, because you have to it's kind of self-building, right? You want to play these games, you have to realistically you have to shoulder some of the responsibility of volunteering for it, or at least helping somebody else who's volunteering. Like in this case, Andrew's the Legion for this, and you know, and I'm trying to help him grow the community, right? We all kind of have to pitch in. Everybody who likes Wrath of Kings out here has to pitch in some way, has to help promote the game, has to get their friends to come play. It's just, that's all I'm saying. If you walk up and people are playing 40K and it's like, oh, here's some more people playing 40K, it's not that big a deal. That said, you know, when you start talking about other aspects of the game, then, you know, there's huge savings on these other games. For example, time to build and collect and assemble miniatures. Significantly less for most of these other games, most of these other skirmish games. So, and then, you know, painting, you save time painting, you save time, you save money collecting. So, and then a lot of these games are easier to learn. I'm not saying they're simpler. They're easier to learn. The core mechanics are easier to learn. And most of them, you don't have to remember a bunch of stat lines and stuff. There's some that do. Malifaux is one of those games, M2E is one of those games where, you know, you want to play it competitively. You have to keep up with a lot of factions. You have to and not just the factions, you have to understand how the masters within each player, within each faction plays. That's a huge time sink in Malifaux M2E. In Wrath of Kings, you don't really have to know. You can ask the players right then and there, like, what does this do? And they can explain it to you without this, like, you know, having to go through an entire lecture. And you're only playing one of 5 factions. You have the ability to, you already kind of know which of your units are going to do well once the person's done it, you know, with a 30-second explanation. What is this? This looks like it's just an objective or something. What is that? It's not a piece of a miniature. Alright. Let's get our pin vice out. And let's get... How many pins am I going to need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 pins. Someone stands on us? Let's go look at the sculpts. Let's look at the sculpts. Oh, yeah, you're right. She does. Well, that's cool. Thanks.
Where are you going?
Okay.
I have a dance to go to at school. It's a very important
So now I'm going to clip myself a section of wire.
I have a wonderful idea.
Oh, the other thing I need to do is I need to get my gel glue out. I'm gonna hit the sack. Had a mentally tiring day. Alright, Congo, thanks for tuning in, man. Thank you to our lurker over on Twitch as well. Welcome to the feed, Monsieur Lurker. Or if you're a bot, Monsieur Bot. Or if you're someone asking me to kill you, that as well. So let's start clipping. Is that I just gotta make sure I'm not clipping anything that isn't a piece. I need to see Big Panda Face Man. Someone show me Big Panda Face Man. I saw the back of Big Panda Face Man. There he is. Okay. So that's just a giant piece of flash, apparently. Alright. Okay. And now let's start clipping some tabs off. It's so quiet. Sunday nights are very, very quiet. But yeah, like I was saying, there's some games that just, in my opinion, I can't afford to play. Not because I don't have the money, because even 40K, you're like, oh, 40K costs you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Which, yeah, it can. But so does Magic the Gathering. You know what I mean? People have time, but people can, quote-unquote, afford to play that. There are guys that I know that tell me they can't afford to play Mercs. You know, if that's truly a 6 model game. Mercs or Guild Ball. Oh, I can't afford to play Guild Ball. But they're playing Magic the Gathering. So I mean, yes, literally they can afford playing, but it's not a priority. That's all that means when they say, oh, I can't afford a game. I can't afford that game. If we're talking money, then we're talking priority. They don't have the other the game that you're discussing with them or trying to get them to play. They're just not invested in it. Hey, what's up, Cheddar Monkey? Welcome to the feed. That's all that ultimately means. But when I say I can't afford to play a game, I'm usually not talking about the money. I'm talking about the bandwidth. I'm talking about the time it takes to play the game, the time it would take to collect and build and paint the models. I'm talking about the amount of storage space or case space I would need to dedicate to a game. I still have Robotech Tactics in my closet. It's awful, and I can't sell it. No one plays that game. You know, I have a fully painted UEDF, and can't sell it because no one plays it. Hope you had a good weekend, Cheddar Monkey. I had a very good weekend myself. You know, did family stuff this weekend on Saturday, and then on Sunday, or today, played some Wrath of Kings and really enjoyed it. Oh, bending swords. Just the most terrifying thing ever. With metal models. Bending swords and spears. Just, oh. It's been a good weekend. Thanks for asking. That's great, man. I'm glad you had a good weekend. This week, crunch week, right? This is the week before the holidays, before nobody's doing work at work, you know? So everybody's going to try to get their work done this week. Means my phone is probably going to be ringing quite a bit. And like tomorrow, I'm actually going to be off site. So I'm not going to be in my lab tomorrow. I've got to drive out to Palm Desert. Oh gosh, yeah, I got to drive out to Palm Desert tomorrow. Tuesday, I'm going to be in LA. And then, yeah, and then just trying to wrap up the rest of the week. But this guy's got a really weird stance. Really cool model, though. I like his samurai aesthetic. Put all my hero clicks in storage. Gonna start collecting and painting Grey Knights for shits and giggles. Cool, man. That's cool. Tori collects Grey Knights, and he's painted some Grey. I don't know if he ever finished painting a whole Grey Knight army, but I know he was working on that for the War Boss Tay painting challenge. Oh my gosh. Cleaning up those little burrs on the swords is awful. Cause see, you just rebent the sword. And it will never become 100% straight. Alright. Gotta keep going. How does this go? Something like that? Hold on. I'm gonna look at the. You can buff it out with some Bondo. Okay, so she's kind of, yeah, she's standing. She's standing like that. Which means that's not a thing. You know, I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's not a thing? Is that a tag too? That's a massive tag. Even stuff like that. Okay. And then I gotta clip this off down here. Everything is a thing. What's up, Dagobah Dave? Welcome to the feed. Ooh. Yep. I haven't worked on metal in a while, and I forgot. This part's annoying. Building metal can blow. Almost done with the clipping phase. Oh, these ridiculous little antenna. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. Witches be clipping over nothing these days. Oh, that's just frustrating. The little tags that form on the ends of these little antenna, for lack of a better term. And then you just have all kinds of... Whoops. What did I just do? Okay. Okay, so that's just the other wing, essentially. Okay. Corvus Belly got little tags on everything, and it's driving me crazy. Their designs are really cool, but man, are they fiddly. Viv used to say you need to be a fucking finger gymnast to put together Corvus Belly minis. And the thing is, Guild Ball minis are also on their tippy toes and all this kind of stuff too. But Guild Ball minis don't have this layer, this level of flash. This is a ridiculous amount of flash on these minis. Alright, and the last two are really just clip the tabs off because they're all one-piece minis. Yay, there are 2 one-piece minis out of 8 minis. Just little tags and chads everywhere. Like more chads than the 2000 presidential election chads. It's flashier than those tracksuits Mace and Diddy wore in the late 90s. That's a hilarious reference. I know what music video you're talking about too. Just sworn this song had already played tonight. Alright. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. Tonight we're building Aristeia minis. I like this Western aesthetic on this guy. Pretty cool. All right. Rip Biggie, we miss you, bro. Alright, here we go. Okay, 1 second, guys. This is just taking way longer than I thought it would, but I forgot. Like I said, it's been a while since I worked with metal. I'll explain this in a minute. Right now I've got to clip 15 of these. And it's high tension, so once the Western guys painted, you can use them in the Friday Fiasco. That would be cool, except that this is a commission. So I guess I'd have to go get my own if I wanted that. Sorry, I gotta clip the pins off camera because they fire directly into a cloth. Because if they don't fire into the cloth, they fire directly into my skin. And while that would be entertaining for you to watch, it wouldn't be very nice for me. You know, we never even talked price on this commission. Should probably clear that up. Hey, what's up, Hexus Pano? Ooh, a commish. My boy's hitting the big time. Actually, oh gosh. Why is that not cutting? It scares me when it doesn't cut, because it's like gonna fire into my eyeball. Believe it or not, I actually get a fair amount of commission work, Cheddar Monkey. It's lately things have slowed down a little bit, but you know, over the course of a year, I get a fair amount. Actually, a lot of the stuff you see me painting on the feeds are commission work. This past year, Nelson monopolized my services for a while. But beyond that, I usually get a fair amount of Guild Ball commissions. I get some D&D commissions. Usually it's around this time of year that I'm getting D&D commissions. So I'm not really sure what happened with the D&D commissions. Maybe everyone's kind of tightening up their wallets. What's up, Hexus Pano? Welcome to the feed. I know there's not much to look at right now. I'm just cutting a bunch of pins. It's Natural business is slow down. Yeah. Yep. People all trying to save money for the holidays. This particular customer of mine, he was going to have me do this and some Batman stuff. But I don't think he's going to submit the Batman stuff. Because he does not like the direction Batman is going right now. Wow, some of these pins are too long. How many do I have there? 5, 10, 13. To cut a couple more. First night working on commissions always kind of looks like this, just a mess. This is going to be interesting too, because essentially there are 8 pieces to paint here, but every piece is very different. They're all from different factions. So this is probably going to take me longer than an 8 model commission normally does, but that's okay. Alright, that should be enough. Alright, so let's go over how we do the pinning business here. So I use these type of bits, which are fantastic. You can find these at like a Harbor Freight or something like that. Micro drill bit. And they have these heavier chucks here. And so what you do is you can take a standard pin vise like this. You can't use the GW one. This is a P3 one. But you can also use this for, you can also find like this in a generic hobby store. It's the same type of pin vise, right? And when you get this pin vise, the clasp is usually like that. That's usually the one that you get. And you stick that micro drill in there. All you have to do is turn it around to the other side, where you have a much larger clasp there. And this is going to be real snug. You just kind of pop that in there. And this is a really nice solution. Because these are like 0.15 or whatever. These are tiny little bits. And like, so this girl here, she's on a tippy toe. And the danger is you don't want to go through the foot. You need a really tiny bit here. So this type of bit setup is perfect for, really fiddly models like Infinity or Batman or Guild Ball. SJW's ruined Magic the Gathering. Only a matter of time before they ruin 40K. Dude, there's so much going on that side, on the fandoms. It's everywhere where there's big time, a lot of attention. So Magic the Gathering, like you said, 40K, the new Star Wars movie, like all of it. So you can get really small pins there. This is about the smallest thing to pin. And very few human beings would pin this. And I will be one of those human beings. So this kind of goes like what's why is there a slot back there? What goes back there? Am I missing something? Hold on. No, nothing goes back there. Okay. Yeah, they're just okay. So what you have, we'll talk about this. And, Octave is the brave and the bold. Yeah, we'll talk about this, and I know this may offend some people who are maybe not familiar with or don't agree with my particular political stance here. And if you don't like me talking about political stuff, cool, I get it. Like, I don't like me talking about political stuff, but I feel like somebody has to. That's on, on maybe a slightly different viewpoint. I do feel like somebody's got to say something, because that's actually pretty damn good. Somebody's got to say something, because there only seems to be certain sides, certain there are acceptable opinions, and then there are the radical opinions on either side, and that's all you ever seem to hear, right? You only seem to hear the I don't know, basically extreme opinions or extremely polite opinions. I think, so what usually happens is somebody expresses some sort of political outrage at a fandom, right? So-and-so is not diverse enough. So-and-so is hateful or bigoted towards this group. Or so-and-so just doesn't have enough diversity. So-and-so doesn't care about, this marginalized group or whatever. So that's usually what starts it, right? And then you have people that come in to defend whatever it is that's being attacked, because they're part of that fandom or they're part of that community or whatever, and they're saying, hey, you know what? We were just people here minding our own business, enjoying what we like, and you had to come in here and start throwing around these accusations like we're this or that, we're bigoted, we're misogynist, we're whatever, right? And then they take that reaction and mock the reaction as well. So then it's like, oh, well, turns out there really are a bunch of bigots, or they are a boys club, or they are awful people, right? And it's not a big deal when it's, your average Tumblr person or whatever. I like the quote, Cheddar Monkey. In the reality, it's not that big a deal if you're talking about, somebody from Tumblr or from some other corner of the internet where they're just the perpetually offended. It's not even a big deal if you're talking about academia or graduate level academia. It's not that big a deal, right? Because it's like, oh, well, those people don't have any effect on my real life. They can be as outraged as they want, and they can write thesis after thesis about how awful Magic the Gathering is, or whatever. Whatever, doesn't, no sweat off my back. But what happens is, or what's been happening more and more now is, oh gosh, this thing is like paper thin. I don't know if this is gonna work. But what's happening now is you have reputable legacy media outlets that are expressing these opinions, or at least broadcasting the opinions of somebody else who has these opinions. And, you know, and now you've got some mainstream attention around it. And then with mainstream attention, whether or not mainstream attention is legitimately outraged by it, it doesn't matter. What matters is, you know, it ended up in the New York Times, it ended up in the Wall Street Journal, it ended up in something that when you tell people, oh, I read about this in, you know, I read about this, you know, in the New York Times or in the Washington Post, that all these, you know, that the people within this fandom, it's really an affront for white supremacy. You know, like, oh, miniature gaming is really just a front for white supremacy. And you read about it in the Washington Post, and, you know, you take the layperson, the filthy normie who's not on the internet. I'm gonna have to just, ooh, we're just gonna have to hope for the best there, man. You take that person that's in the middle, that has some purchasing power, that is not necessarily the customer of a business, but the desired customer of a business. And then you say, well, Wall Street Journal was outraged by this and this and this. Well, they freak out, and they, and then that's where the real consequences start to come in, right? Because then now they're starting to affect products, they're starting to affect services, they're starting to affect the lives of people in that community or whatever. That's where the real life consequences come in. And that's why, you know, these people are always getting outraged. And it's upsetting to be on the sideline. Especially if that was one of your, you know, one of the fandoms that you, that you actually embraced, right? Like, put yourself in the shoes of, let's say, an actual outcast person, a downtrodden person, or a, you know, maybe just an introvert, or somebody that's just into quote unquote weird hobbies. Like, put yourself in their shoes, and let's say you had a hard time relating to people. Like, you had a hard time getting out there. Maybe you have some social anxiety. You know, maybe there's just other things going on in your life that make it hard for you to get into the mainstream, right? To get into the game with people and really kind of invest in the world directly around you. But let's say the one thing that really kind of helped was Warhammer 40k, right? I talk shit about Warhammer 40k all the time on this feed, but right now I'm using it as a positive thing. Let's say you are just a complete social misfit. You have social anxiety disorders. You have you have your share of issues. And the only thing that ever really kind of helped you get out of your shell, the only people that ever really kind of reached out to you and made you feel welcome and looked out for you and, you know, protected you and laughed with you and all this other stuff, when the rest of the world basically turned their back on you, the only thing at times it felt like you had was Warhammer 40k. And so you were fiercely loyal to to 40k and the 40k community. And suddenly you read, oh, 40k players are a bunch of toxic males. 40k players are actually, white nationalists, and they disguise themselves, they disguised behind this game, which really is a Nazi simulator, right? And indoctrinating people. It's a fucking D&D argument from the 80s. Can you believe that? The D&D video game Marilyn Manson argument that's been fought and won in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. You would think a generation of people that grew up in that would learn that that's the wrong fucking argument. But no. It's the fandom. Yeah. All these people were dicks to me, and it's because they like 40k. All of these people were acted like shit and, said awful, rude, and inappropriate things to me. And it's because they liked 40k. Instead of attacking a direct human issue where, yeah, there are disgusting people in every community. And if you are talking about some of these, quote-unquote, more the nerdier fandoms or the nerdier hobbies or the ones that have a lot more people that have social skills, poor social skills, well, you're going to end up with poor social interactions, you stupid ass. So you can run into stuff like that naturally. If I went to a cat show, I like to use the cat show, right? Because the cat show is it's the analogy I use with my wife. Because my wife is a filthy normie, right? My wife doesn't play these games. She's not in these communities or whatever. Quite frankly, she thinks it's at least a little bit weird. Right? Let's be real here. My wife is like, she thinks it's at least a little bit weird. This whole hobby stuff. She likes it. She can appreciate the art. She appreciates what I do. She likes that, that my hobby pays for itself, and sometimes more, depending on the commissions. Like, she can see all of that logically. But it's, for her, it's still odd. The whole thing is still strange. Oh gosh. Just got teased in school for liking Fantastic Four. And Spider-Man, now everyone walks around saying they always liked it. Yeah. God, can I know we're just talking unpopular opinions right now. And I may lose some subscribers over this. Over what I'm about to say. And some people might get angry with me. And understand that I'm basing this opinion not on the latest movie, because I haven't seen the latest movie. Okay, so I'm not allowed to judge the latest movie. But I have seen everything up to Rogue One. Okay, so we're talking about Star Wars, and it's coming up. But let me say something. Like you said, you liked Fantastic Four and X-Men and all that other shit, right? Where's the damn kicker? And then suddenly, now it's mainstream, and now everybody's coming out like, oh, I always liked that shit. Right? I feel you, man, because, yeah. Here's the thing about, maybe having different opinions than people. A lot of times people will, they'll overlook what you did or what you said or anything like that. And then years later, they'll come back and say, oh, yeah. I was part of that. Oh yeah. I'm a joiner there. Oh yeah, I'm down. And you know they're full of shit. Here's an unpopular opinion. Okay? When I look objectively at the 8 Star Wars movies, not including Episode 8, but 1 through 6, TFA, and Rogue One, and I look at the Star Wars universe and all that, my conclusion is that you have a franchise now that is basically living off of brand recognition. And I know that's super unpopular. And I know I read every time a Star Wars movie comes out, I read, oh, this is better. This is the best Star Wars I've ever seen. This is the best one, guys. This is it's way better. It's way better than whatever one I was hyped for the year before. And then by the time August rolls around, you have people talking about that movie going, meh, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't great. It was okay. This is what happened with The Force Awakens. People were nutting their freaking shorts when that movie came out. Oh, Force Awakens is the best thing ever, you guys. It was the greatest movie of all time. Then you came around August that same year. And don't get me wrong, you have actual Star Wars fans, you have Star Wars fanatics. They're like, nah man, still love Force Awakens, it's awesome. But you had a lot of these self-same fucks that were on their feed going, it could have been better. Around August, like now they're catching up essentially. And the same with Rogue One. Rogue One, oh my god, that was the best movie ever. And then they get around, and you roll around to August. It was okay. It wasn't that great. These are people that are fucking trapped in the goddamn hype cloud. I'm sorry. If you like Star Wars, you like Star Wars. Just own that shit. And you know what? I salute you. And I know plenty of people that like Star Wars and love Star Wars. And when they give an opinion on Star Wars, it isn't based on hype. They just genuinely like it. If you're one of those people, cool. Settle down. This isn't about you, okay? I'm talking about those fucking wagon hoppers. Every year, I see them on my feed. This is the best one. Bear in mind, I saw episode 1 in the theater. I know that's not a bragging right, but I saw episode 1, 2, and 3. Actually, I've seen all of them in the theater technically. No, I didn't see TFA or Rogue One in the theater, but everything before that, the first 6 movies, I watched all those in the theater. And you want to know the truth of it? Everyone loved Star Wars when it first came out. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's it's a really, really good movie. And then everyone loved Return of the Jedi. Well, they walked out of Return of the Jedi going, oh man, that was so fun. There were Ewoks and all kinds of stuff. And that's where it started, was Return of the Jedi. Because before Return of the Jedi, you had Empire Strikes Back. And I watched Empire Strikes Back when I was in the fucking first grade. I was in the first grade. I watched Empire Strikes Back, watched Luke get his hand cut off, we watched Han Solo get frozen in carbon, and Darth Vader tell Luke that he was his father. And imagine like being a first grader. Like that shit rocked my world, man. Like I wasn't okay watching that. I was like, well, but the good guys. I'm like, the good guys are supposed to win, right? Like looking over at my dad, my brother, like, right? Good guys are supposed to win. And walked out of that theater tempted to hate that movie, tempted to hate Star Wars, walked out of that movie theater. And a lot of people were mad. A lot of other people were like, no, that's not, you can't just end the movie on a shitty note like that. You can't just do that, right? My dad looked over at me and he said, you know what? It's the best Star Wars movie. And here's why. Because people need to know the good guys don't always win. In fact, the good guys hardly ever win. It's a good movie. It was a good movie, an objectively good movie. And it wasn't a popular opinion at the time. And yet, I walked out of the movie ready to hate it. and then kind of walked it back almost immediately after what my dad said. Then it started to dawn on me like, oh, you're right. Everything I'd watched, and I was a fucking first grader, but everything I watched was about good guys winning. And I expected the good guys to win and they didn't. And it was awesome. Right? But now you have all these bitch asses coming out and saying, oh, Empire Strikes Back was the best movie. It was great. And you know they were pissed when that shit came out. So Empire was hated, then it was liked. Then here's where it starts. Return of the Jedi. Oh, I love Ewoks. Return of the Jedi was a good movie. Yeah. And it takes a little bit longer, but like a few years later, people are like, you know what? Ewoks are kind of stupid. And can you believe the Empire was losing to that crap? That's kind of dumb. And they didn't really like. And then so Return of the Jedi was one of those that they started to walk back. And then it really dawned on me when Episode 1 came out, and I left the theater pissed. I was like, that is the worst piece of crap that I think I've ever seen in my life. That was the shittiest movie I think I'd seen in a long, long time. I hated Anakin Skywalker. I thought the whole movie was the last fight scene was so poorly done with CGI. I was like, what is this, Nintendo fucking 64? What am I watching here? And I walked out of that theater, yet there were just swathes of people. Oh, Star Wars is back and it's better than ever. It's so good. And then, not even 3-4 months later, hey guys, Episode 1 wasn't really that good. So you saw that shit happen with Episode 1. You saw it happen with Episode 2. Wait, this is where things are starting to get dark for Anakin. This is a good movie. And you watch it and it's a freaking train wreck. One of the most... It's basically The Room, but like worse than The Room. Because they spent millions of dollars and had a ridiculously good crew of actors. And they could not pull off that movie. Right? But yet, oh, it's the best Star Wars yet. Now granted, the prequels, once the prequels were over, right? The hype cloud moves away. Suddenly everyone's like, hey man, the prequels weren't very good. What are you thinking, Lucas? And then Lucas remasters the first trilogy. People get mad again. And then The Force Awakens comes out, right? And The Force Awakens is less shit than the prequels. And suddenly, it's the best Star Wars ever, guys. And you're like, it's still not very good. This is still not very good, man. And no, this is the best thing I think I've ever seen. And then August that year, oh, it's not that good. And then Rogue One comes out. Guys, this is the best one I've ever seen. And then August again. Do you notice a pattern? Do you notice a pattern? And again, I'm not talking about you Star Wars fanatics that just love all that shit and just lap that shit up. Not talking about you guys. Talking about the hype motherfuckers that jump on that train and jump off the train all day long. You know who I'm talking about. And it's just awful. It's just terror. It drives me crazy. Because I know, like, I feel like just flagging. I might have to leave a code word or something on every thread. Somebody saying, guys, this is the best. Like, I'm going to leave a code word. I'm going to say, like, I don't know. I'm going to say, fantastic, right? I'll say, oh, fantastic, right? Because I know that fucker's feed come August is going to be, well, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. But this motherfucker right now is posting that it's the best goddamn thing they've ever seen in your life. Okay? And it all started with Empire Strikes... not Empire... Well, yes, sort of Empire. Because Empire was the miss. People didn't like it when it first came out. turns out a lot of people agree that it's the best movie of the franchise now. But back when that shit came out, this movie's not very good. So what I'm saying is, never trust the fucking mainstream. Never trust their opinions. Always write out, come up with your own and write it out yourself. Last night I was joking with people. I think on this feed I was like, yeah, to all you hype fiends that think that Episode 8 is the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread, I will tell you this, I am waiting for you. I'm in the future. I'm in August 2018 when some of you motherfuckers are gonna say, it wasn't that good. Alright? So I'm in the future. I'll meet you there. I'm waiting. I'll meet you out there when you can come to your senses, get over the fucking hype, and admit that it was not as great as you thought it was when you saw it. And then I'll take it a step further. I will double down. I will double down and take it a step further and say, you know what, guys? I'm going to join you out in 2047 in the future when you say, you know what? Maybe we did make too many Star Wars movies. Maybe we did. That's right, bitches. I'm out there in the fucking future waiting for your slow asses to come join me in the correct opinion. Oh, man. We just talk so much shit on this channel. Anyway. But, again, and I'm not, if you genuinely liked it, you genuinely liked it. Cool. Good. More power to you. I like shit that other people don't like. I don't need to be punished for it, right? But I'm just saying, those hype train motherfuckers, and you know who I'm talking about. Freaking sheeple. Oh, it's the best one ever. Here it is, you guys. Watch these fools. Watch these fools on your feed. Watch them. Come August, they're gonna talk. There's gonna be Star Wars news. Oh, it wasn't that good, guys. It wasn't that. Then you just walk up and smack them in the. Just smack them in the face directly. What the fuck is the matter with you? And you could be one. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be bitter and salty and all that shit. You don't have to be like me. You can be a legitimate fan. Like Cheddar Monkey. You could be a legitimate fan. And you can smack that person in the face just for being bad at. Oh. But yeah. But I don't know. Like I said. To you bitches out there on the bandwagon, I will meet you in August 2018. In the realm of, meh, it wasn't that great. What's up, Kevin, man? Welcome to the feed. What's up, Albert? But yeah, the same thing with the superhero thing. We all got made fun of for liking superheroes. Suddenly there's all these punks out there. I fucking love Magneto. My favorite X-Men was Banshee. Shut the fuck up. You didn't know who the hell Banshee was until you watched X-Men First Class. Like shut up. You don't. Oh. I'm talking Cheddar Monkey. I'm talking figurative smacks. I don't know. I don't know why. It just. I guess it shouldn't bug me that there are bandwagon hoppers. It shouldn't bug me, but it does. I don't know. It's like you were right about something, and these are people that ridiculed you for it. And then, after they're done ridiculing you, and after everyone forgets, then suddenly they claim to be on that same team that you were on. The worst, man. The worst. But yeah, I have a lot of unpopular opinions. I do. I have a lot of unpopular opinions, and then sometimes people reverse their opinions and they come and join me, and then it kind of makes me mad. I don't know. It's like, dude, you didn't suffer the consequences of being the, of being the nonconformist. So F you, dude. So, if you're just joining us, we're painting some Aristeia. For those of you Star Wars fans that are now mad at me, but you can't. But again, I didn't see Episode 8, so my statements are not based on Episode 8. They're based simply on a pattern that I keep seeing over and over and over again, and we're gonna see it next year again. Certain people on your Facebook feed, on your social media feed, guys, this one was the best one ever. And then you just come back in August and you're like, yeah, see you in August, when you don't think that. When you are not affected by hype. Well, there was like a whole conversation there with the two. I don't know. But that's the thing about, you know, these fandoms, is you have stuff like that happens, and then you have the other people that are, you know, using it for political means. Once again, like I said, I've said on this show a few times, I'm glad I'm not a nerd anymore, and I mean that in the way I mean it. You know, oh, but you're doing nerdy things right now. Am I? Because the nerds that I know would be looking at this and going, hey guys, isn't that from Overwatch? Did they do this on the Big Bang Theory, you guys? You know, these are all nerdy things, and I'm glad to be part of the nerdy show. And I had nothing in common with that bitch, right? I got nothing in common with that bitch-ass punk calling himself a nerd, rocking his freaking merchandising everywhere, his shitty haircut, and his jeans that are way too tight. Got nothing in common with that dude. Crying about not enough people of this color or that color or this between their legs or whatever. I don't have anything in common with that person. I'm a fucking person, I do shit that people don't like or don't even know about and would only think is weird. This track is kind of rad. Whatever I'm listening to. This track is hot. But yeah, I don't know. I know I talk a lot of shit, man. But I don't know. I hope that you guys that watched Star Wars this weekend enjoyed it. For real. I've been watching a bunch of reviews on it, and I don't care about spoilers because, like I said, I'm probably not gonna watch Episode 8 until like maybe even this time next year, because that's how TFA worked for me. Like, I didn't watch TFA till a good year afterwards. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until the hype is down, and I can talk to people in public who don't think it's, you know, God came down and nutted on her face type good, and have a reasonable conversation. Like, that's how long I have to wait for that, because people are like fanatical. Let's do it, Star Wars, and you know, and I get it, right? A lot of people like Star Wars. I get that, but it's, you know, this whole we're gonna beat you down or fighting you at your house and get you fired from your job and, you know, set your puppies on fire because you don't like what I like shit. That's crazy, man. That's just fucking crazy. People on the internet. This is that guy that's over 9K again. Some big tags on these. That's a freaking tag? It's crazy. I don't see any of that stuff. Let's see. Whose feed are you following? Dude, just a lot of people just post shit like that. Guys! Guys! It's the best one ever. I don't know. That's the voice I hear. I hear Jim Gaffigan's voice when I read those posts. I'm a chubby, socially awkward ginger with a messed up sense of humor. I usually walk around in my t-shirts and sweatpants, scuffed up, cracked New Balance. What the hell? That was very descriptive. Yeah, we discussed nerd on this show before, and why I now do not consider myself a nerd. Because it's a very different thing, you know. It's but yeah. This is a crap joint. What? Do you consider yourself a hobbyist or a gamer? It's I would not I would not consider myself either. I'm a miniature yeah, I would say I'm a miniature hobbyist and gamer. I can't do one without the other. So I don't know. If you were talking to, you know, professional level miniature painters and hobbyists, they would consider me a gamer. If you were to talk to competitive level gamers and organized play guys, they would consider me a hobbyist. I think that basically speaks the volumes right there. That's me. I don't do one without the other, and I can't even see them as being separate. Like, I can't see wanting to do this hobby. Well, just the one aspect of the hobby. It feels very, very incomplete to me. I'm proud because I have a good heart and no SJWs can take that away from me. Okay. Regarding the whole SJW thing. My wife is back on The Office. She's watching the US Office. And she's been watching that. Oh man, I might need the bigger pin for this. So she's been streaming, you know, watching that on stream, just basically on binge, right? And I'm watching that and going, holy shit, Michael Scott. Michael Scott is a proto SJW. Okay? If you don't believe me, go back and watch The Office. Go back and watch anytime Michael Scott has had to give a speech or a presentation on any social justice issue. And he perfectly, he doesn't even parody an SJW. He perfectly emulates SJW behavior to like perfection, okay? Perfection. Watch any of his speeches on race and watch how dismissive he is of actual, people of color. I watched one tonight where he was talking about ageism, and he got the, the founder of Dunder Mifflin in, and that guy was like 87 years old, and he was calling him old fart and bag of bones and all this other stuff, because it wasn't about it. At no point was it about fighting for those social justice issues. It was about him. It was about satisfying his own desire to seem righteous or moral, and it was all very self-indulgent. And he considered himself on higher moral standing than his team around him. Like, think about it. Go back and watch that. Michael Scott sums up perfectly what a social justice warrior is and what's wrong with them. And I was watching that tonight and thinking to myself, it's like these fucking people watched that as if it was the Bible for them. They were watching that and they're like, this isn't funny. This guy's correct. And we need to do it the way he's doing it. Very authoritarian, very dismissive of the people he quote unquote wants to protect. Very self-indulgent, very narcissistic. Like, look at it. Go back and look at it. And suddenly, you may come to the same realization that I did. That, oh my God, he is the social justice warrior. He's a prophet of it. It is phenomenal how well he has captured what a social justice warrior is. It's crazy. So, anyways, I just thought I would pass that along. Because I think if more people knew that, if more people understood that, and would watch him and go, even like if you were to take, because I know, I'm like friends with an SJW guy, and I basically told him, like, I'm not down for that shit. I'm not down for identity politics. Like, we totally had it out. We're still cool and all that, but, I told him, like, that's not right, man. Your heart's in the right place. You mean well, but you're fucking it up, man. You're fucking it up, and you're sending us backwards. And he feels the opposite about me. Like, in his view, I'm like a person who supports the stormtroopers, right? I support the Empire because I'm here to protect my family, and I want to make a good living for them, and I want them to live a peaceful life, and I want to protect a nation that allowed my family to do that and escape a dictatorship of their own, to escape an oppressive regime of their own. And they were so proud to come over here and be part of the team and fly that fucking flag and sing that fucking song and get away from the people that meant them harm. And in their eyes, this whole feel-good shit is actually just inviting the people that they were getting away from back over here to cause even more harm. So, I don't know. I don't really want to get in on that, but like, we don't agree, right? We don't agree. Me and my friend don't agree on this kind of stuff. And I want him to watch that. I wish he would. I wish I could sit him down and go, look, this is what how the world sees you. And this is the damage that you're actually doing, but you think you're not. You think you're helping, but this is what you're really doing. And Michael Scott did it in the early 2000s, and we thought it was funny because it's like, who the hell would act that way? Who the hell would talk about, would burn his foot on a George Foreman grill and then invite the guy in the wheelchair in and then start claiming that they were on the same level and that, and say horrible things like, oh, when this guy wheeled in here, you were laughing at him in your head, and like just project that onto his own staff. Like, I wish I could show my friend that and go, look, that's what you're fucking doing, man. That's what you're doing. So you took Michael Scott and you made him a reality. Like, not just you, a whole generation of assholes. A whole bunch of people made Michael Scott right. Like, made him the moral fucking footing. And that's not even a joke. They made him the actual footing. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, pull up, go on YouTube or whatever, or Google or whatever the hell you want, and type in Michael Scott racism. Type in Michael Scott homosexuality. Like, see how he treats Oscar when he finds out that Oscar is gay on that show. He is SJW. He is SJW mentality. He is SJW MO. And he's just out there to fucking ruin everything. And because he's got to make it about himself and making himself feel better about himself. That's all that is. And simultaneously claiming moral superiority over people. It is fucking eerie. He buys a device to see who else is gay. Like, I'm not kidding. Yeah. It's just haunting. It's haunting. It's funny as shit. It's cringy as all hell. But shit is, like, that's real, man. Oh, I like this jam. It's a good song. It's okay to have friends with different viewpoints. Healthy debate would make so many things improve, I think. But as long as people stay in their fart echo chambers, nothing will change. I don't know. I agree with what you're saying. It's, the thing that's so scary is not that there's a right and, people think that they're right and the other people are wrong. It's not that. That's not the part that scares me. What scares me and upsets me is that, if you're someone my age, you grew up with the religious right, basically, claiming moral authority over you. And you've watched example after example after example of people that said that they're morally better than you and that they understand what's right for you, making decisions on your behalf, making assumptions and taking freedoms away from you for your own good, right? And being part of the other side of that struggle and going, you know what? The left is correct. The liberal progressive mindset is correct. And they were correct. They were correct. Because at that point, they stood for individual liberty and individual freedom. And, live and let live. And, the sovereignty of the individual. They lived for that. And they understood that that's how you reached people on the other side. And without the episode, we wouldn't have gotten That's What She Said, or He Said. Right? So we grew up in that time. We grew up when we fought those assholes and said, look, D&D is not going to make you worship the devil. Okay? Video games. Doom is not going to make you go kill people. Marilyn Manson is not going to make you go shoot up a high school. Okay? We fought against these assholes for decades. And as soon as the other side becomes the mainstream supported opinion, as soon as that side becomes the mainstream supported opinion, they go and pull the same exact shit. Suddenly, oh, no, wait. Video games can't make you violent, but they can make you sexist. What? 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 Yeah. Right? Rap music was being investigated when rap music first came out. NWA, Eazy-E, Ice-T. There were FBI investigations on these bands. And you had Tipper fucking Gore trying to shut down rap music, essentially. Tipper Gore was Al Gore's wife was trying to shut down rap music. Al Gore's wife went after 2 Live Crew and made Luke Skywalker change his name to just Luke. Right? And then finally we were like, no. Rap music is a legitimate art form. It needs to be respected. It is urban. And they're going to cover some fucking harsh topics from time to time. We thought we won that argument. And then it was like, no. You know what, guys? Rap music can't make you... Rap music can't make you violent, but it can make you sexist. Yeah, it's on both sides, at least how I totally agree with that. It isn't about left. What I was getting to is it's not about left or right. And if you only look at it as left or right, then you're looking at it the wrong way. It's about 2 or more sides that are all trying to use moral outrage and emotional appeal as the basis for their arguments. And instead of actually discussing ideas and debating ideas, they're just employing a bunch of tactics, to shut people down, to shame them, to get them fired, to get them fired, or to get you to buy or not buy specific products, to get them to be able to say more and more and more about what happens in your life, and what happens in your bedroom, and what happens, with your kids. That's all it is. Everybody fighting for fucking control. And nobody earnestly gives a shit about you. That's the other thing I'll say, too. People who attack or defend government, or attack or defend, specific candidates within government, to say, oh, no. This isn't the candidate for the people. This is the candidate for the people. You're fucking stupid. Okay? Nobody in those public offices earnestly gives a shit about you and what you do. They're there to support, to increase their own power and increase the influence of their political affiliation. Okay? That's it. And if they're working an emotional appeal or angle with you, if they're going to say, oh, well, you're a downtrodden individual because of this, this, and this, but luckily, I'm the candidate for these types of people. They're playing an identity politics game, and they need to fucking go away. If they say, I'm the candidate for the upright Christian man, I'm the candidate for the transgender woman. No, you aren't. Fuck you. You are not. You don't give a shit about specific groups of people. And the fact that you broke people up into specific groups of people, and the fact that voting is analyzed in terms of demographics. Oh, did you know that white women voted Trump in? Did you know that black people voted this person in Detroit? Or, did you know that the black people won the race in Alabama? Fuck that, man. You're playing the game. You're playing the game. If you're segmenting people that way and going, oh, it's about this, and it's about trying to convince these people that you're on their side and that you're the one for them. They don't give a shit about you. That's like rule one. Anytime you have to look at the government, is you have to understand. First off, don't worry about the D or the R next to their name, because that's mistake number one. And secondly, you have to understand, they don't give a shit about you. They want your vote and they want your tax money. Okay? They don't give a shit about you. And the minute you understand that, the minute you can start looking at this stuff objectively. Here we go. Lara Croft had triangular boobs. I'm like way behind on comments, sorry guys. And we loved her. That's about as non-sexist as it gets. Compromise and respect are working towards the greater good is not the adult thing to do. It's all about me, me, me. Government ain't gonna stop me. I'm gonna whack it and smoke weed and drink Coke and enjoy Xbox. Yeah, but that way of life, your way of life, is a threat to a number of people. Your apathy is a threat to a number of people. They need you to care about what they care about, and they're willing to they're willing to get in front of you and your video game to make you feel that way. That's what it's about. And they'll come in here and go, "Oh, Cheddar Monkey, you like Half-Life? I like Half-Life." And they'll look at it in Wikipedia and go, "Oh yeah, I'm a fan of this character. But you know what? You should really vote for this way of life because you're a piece of shit and you've been a misogynist and it's time to clean all this up. You godless heathen, you." That's all it is. Like, they spend 3 seconds getting to know the quote-unquote fandom that they claim to be a part of, and they've done the same with the term nerd, so fuck nerds. It's not about that anymore. I don't know. But what the hell do I know? I mean, never really unified with a community of people other than tabletop games. That is the weirdest cut. Who the hell? That is a weird ass cut. Okay, so I'm gonna put the pin there. This must have been fucking Night Models or some shit did this. That's pretty terrible. It's your Half-Life. I like crowbars in the color orange. It's like we're the same. It's true though. I mean, that's the order of the day. See, the reason why nerd became popular in the first place had nothing to do with people suddenly liking X-Men or Spider-Man. It had nothing to do with people suddenly liking what Cheddar Monkey likes, or what you like, or what I like. It had everything to do with somebody going, "Oh damn." Somebody looking at a bunch of receipts and going, "Oh shit. People spent a lot of money on this weird fucking shit last year." They watched them people in tights run around and shoot CGI at each other. Right? And a bunch of marketing people said, "Huh, that's a segment of the population that we never actually directly marketed towards. And these people have disposable income." Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, "What the fuck, man? You just said I had disposable income. I'm sitting here on a moldy ass couch with a bag of Cheetos open. Like, what the fuck do you mean I have disposable income?" Listen, to them, you have disposable income, okay? Because you bought a box of Grey Knights last month, okay? That's not considered a, that's considered a luxury item, for lack of a better term, right? You spent money on what in the grand scheme of things is considered spurious shit, right? And some marketing people took note of that, and they said, "Well, wait. You mean if I sell this mug in a regular shop, this mug is gonna sell for about $2.50. But if I put Chewbacca on this mug, I can sell this mug for $15 because Shadow Monkey really loved Chewbacca. Oh shit. Well, we should make more of those. And we should make a whole store based on that. And what are they? These people were nerds. Like, this is some nerdy shit. I know. Let's make a nerd pottery shop. Here we go. Let's market to these people directly. So when you say, oh well, everybody likes that shit now. Do they? Or were they marketed to? Were they sold this idea that they should like that stuff? Because the merch was so fucking cool. I mean, think about that honestly for a second. You know, when my Chewbacca is awesome. When my wife and I were dating, and we used to go, we used to go to the clubs or whatever, I would show up and I'd be wearing I'd wear a Fantastic Four shirt, or I'd wear a Thundercats shirt. Thundercats isn't there yet. Somebody's gonna do that though. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I would show up there and people would clown me, like, what are you? Shouldn't you be in a comic shop? Because I would wear the kinds of clothes and stuff that people would wear at a comic shop, but I would wear it out to the club and rock that shit. I didn't give a shit, right? And my wife she wasn't quite into that stuff, but she thought it was cool. She was like, oh yeah, he has like a Green Lantern shirt. He has like a Captain America shirt. That's cool, right? She thought it was cool. And this is really before that stuff was heavily marketed. But now, you can see the most hipster guy ever walking down this shirt and he'll have a Captain America shirt on. You know what I'm saying? But the question is, did those folks, did the normies, the mainstream, did they ever really like that stuff? Because like you were saying earlier, now they all like it. When they clowned you when only you liked it. But what made them like it? Really, what made them like it? What made them like it was there are people that realized how much money you spent on that, and they wanted your money and their money and the hipsters' money. And they made that shit happen. Good night, Albert. Am I making sense? Let me know. Do they really like that stuff? Because I say they don't. I say they didn't. Not until major Hollywood actors were involved. Not until major merchandising was involved. So again, and they'll go, oh, I'm a nerdy this. I do nerd yoga. I'm a nerdy guy. No, you're not, man. No, you're fucking not. Well, that's what I was saying a few years ago. No, you're not. Now I've come to the realization that that's the wrong. That's really not my answer. My answer now is no, I'm not. Because now they are. See what I'm saying? Now they are the nerd. And nerd is a really cool thing to be. And now I'm not. Because I'm not like them. I'm nothing like them. Hey, what's up, Jose? Welcome to the feed. Hope you're doing well over in the PI, man. Hope you're staying cool. Check it out, dude. Aristeia miniatures. So now we're gonna stick these bad boys on the bases. See, it makes sense. Maybe some of them didn't find out they liked it until they were advertised it. Yeah, it's our society has slowly been engineered to the point where we are now, where we have a soft and pliable consumer base, ready and willing to accept whatever shit the marketing people want to throw at us now. And that's the sad truth of it. Oh damn, it's late. No, we're not going to get to priming tonight. just gonna build. I rambled too much. And this stuff is still fairly soft. So this has me a little bit worried. Yeah, this is a commission. So those people that I was talking about earlier that are in August are going to come back to me and go, it wasn't that good. Did those people ever really like Star Wars? Like, of their own accord? Did they ever legitimately like it? Or were they just doing this what they were conditioned to do? Woo! You almost have my hopes up. You know what, Jose? This is for Chris, right? And I told Chris, hey, if you really think it's a good game, teach me how to play it, and I'll see. You know what came in, Jose? My Way of the Fighter stuff came in, but no minis. But I gotta learn how to play that. I still liked Rogue One even after you gave me your impression of it. No, good on you then, is what I'm saying. Like, don't just listen to me. I'm just one opinion. You can say fuck off, Octave, and like what you like. And if you like what you like, I'm gonna respect that. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the people that are, like I said, right now, that are like, it's the best movie ever, you guys. And then I know they're gonna come back in August and be like, it wasn't that good. That's what I'm talking about. And then come December, episode 9. Episode 9 is gonna be the best one ever, guys. And then a couple years after, because the trilogy will be over, it'll take a couple years after for them to go, it wasn't that good. Yeah, they're still working on the minis for Way of the Fighter. Oh god, this is really gonna just have to. I guess I'm gonna have to let that dry upside down because the angle is so weird. Also, since you're not drinking, I won't regale you with my current Hit me, dude. What are we doing? Tell me. I'm not gonna be on that much longer, but tell me. Tell me. Okay. Kampai. Wow, I did that whole... Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Alright, hit me, Jose. What's up? The sake gets poured on your suddenly. No, man. Tell me what's going on, man. I'm like the opposite of a bartender. I hear your tale of woe, and instead of pouring you a drink, I pour me a drink. I'm the Michael Scott bartender. Currently at a wake drinking, Johnny. Arrive for a birthday and arrive emergency funeral, Chris. Oh, man. That's awful, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. That's a bummer, man. But you kind of told me, is this your grandfather? You told me your grandfather was really sick, right? Sorry to hear that, man. That's the last time I was out in the Philippines was also for a funeral. Well, not just for that, but that was one of the reasons while we were out there. One of my grandmothers had passed. So, yeah. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you know, hopefully your grandfather lived a good life and you have you have fond memories of him, because, you know, I know she wasn't my grandmother, she was actually my grand aunt, but, you know, you're Filipino, you grow up and they say this is your grandma, whatever. And I have really fond memories of her. She was really nice. If I'm being totally honest with you, she was way cooler than my actual grandmother on my dad's side. My grandmother on my dad's side was judgmental as all hell. Yeah. Dude, that's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Not to change subjects like insensitively, but I'll share some good news with you. Let me show you real quick. You're still drinking and eating like anything, and then playing mahjong. Nice in the funeral. Yeah, that's Filipinos, man. That over there is my first Filipino funeral, and they were serving people food right out there, right. Like, people were sitting on the headstones and everything, just eating burgers. It was crazy. Alright, so check it out, man. So we played in Andrew's Wrath of Kings tournament today. And I played Shale Han, which is dope, the Chinaman. And I came home with a dope silver medal. So dope, man. Phil won the gold, so Phil won first place. This is so awesome. I feel like wearing this around my house and just, I'm somebody now. I'm like, trying to tell my wife and kids what to do. And then be like, no, that doesn't prove anything, dude. But yeah. These minis are like, this chick is dope. This is gonna take a bit longer than a normal 8 model commission, I was saying, because they're all characters. Phil plays Nasir and Technus. He played Nasir today. Yeah, Kevin, you should have came, main. We had spots open. We could have. There were no Technus players today. It was 3 Goritsi players, 2 Nasir players, and I was playing Shalehan. And I finished second. I played Phil in the second game, and he beat me 1-0. And I was 1 model away from tying him. I don't think I would have won that game because I was just losing models pretty quick anyway. But I did, like, if I did manage to force a tie, you know, there is, I'll say, maybe a 25% chance that I'm pulling off that game. But yeah, well played by Phil. He did a great job. He played Andrew in the first round, then he played me, and then in the last game he played Matt. And tough game with Matt. All the games were super close. I played against Chris in the first round, Goritsi. And I beat him 0 to -1, so super close game. And then I lost to Phil second game, 1-0. And then the third game, I played Andrew, and I beat Andrew by a bit more, like 4-0 or something. So we had a number of players that were 2-1 on the day. Phil went undefeated, so he went on to gold. And then it came down to, in Wrath of Kings, the next tiebreaker is leadership ranks that you've killed. So it came down to me and Cody, and we both killed 5 ranks of leaders. And then once it's past leaders, then it goes down to individual models that you killed. And I won by 6 models. 47 to 41. Yeah, all the games were close, man. It was super relaxed tournament, super chill. Everybody there was really cool, and the games happened. There was good, plenty of time to play the games and have a break and all that stuff. Like Andrew didn't really have to keep anybody on track or anything like that. It was everybody showed up. Everybody that showed up was super cool, and it was the most fun I've had in a tournament in a very long time, if I'm being honest with you. Like Wrath of Kings is just, that's my go-to brutality game. It is just such a damn good game. And win or lose, you still have a bunch of pigs fighting Chinamen, fighting fat chicks in masks, fighting squid, or sorry, jellyfish and sharks. Like it's all good. Wrath of Kings is underrated. It is one of the best skirmish systems, period. For me, it's kind of the mechanics are as slick as Eldorado, and the miniatures are as good as Confrontation. I am surprised how much I love that game. When I backed the Kickstarter originally, I thought it was just going to be something that I paint and sell, because it sounded so stupid. Everything about it sounded so stupid, and the way Cool Mini marketed it was just so bruh that I just couldn't be down for it. And then, kept a couple armies, played it, fucking love that game. Anybody, like, you have to think about the company, right? There's like the most chill people are like Matt, Chris, Phil, Andrew. These are some of the coolest, like, most chill gamers ever. And we're all playing this in Cody, and we're all playing this game, and it's dope. Fat chicks in masks describe most of the ladies over here. Can't call it skirmish. Yeah, it's true. It's in that size of like a Warma Horde. It's Saga, Warma Hordes, that size game. But yeah, it's a good game. Painting the amount of guys is a little painful, but once you get the troops done, then you get to do cool shit. Like, I'm gonna start building my Celestial army soon, and then I'm gonna flesh out Technus. Kevin's he's got some robots to add to the mix there, so that's gonna be dope. Look at this model. Sick, man. I heard it was Age of Sigmar done right. That's what people told me. It's what Age of Sigmar should have been, apparently. It's just such a slick game, and the minis are so damn cool. And I didn't expect the fluff to be good, because it just sounded so awful when they marketed it. The fluff is fucking good. Yeah, I'm still kind of blown away with how much I like that game. Kind of a dope Yojimbo type character. Yeah, I wish I had time to prime these. I'm still undecided between Goritzi or Shalhan, or possibly Nasir. Well, there's only 5 factions, so I wouldn't worry about overlapping. If you want to, I would just say play with us, borrow some armies, and then decide what you really want to play. And most of us are going to end up having 2 armies or so. Like, I have Shalhan and Technus. I was tempted to start a Hadros army because of the sale. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a second Celestial host. Or Nasir. Yeah. less overlap and more faction whose aesthetic like the most. Well, you know, right now the least played factions are Hadros, Technus, and Shalhan. A lot of people are playing Goritsi and Nasir, but those people are gonna pick up other armies and play it. Like, I know Cody's gonna go Hadros. Andrew has already started Shalhan, and he picked up Hadros. So who knows what the hell Andrew's gonna be playing. Yoshimitsu from Tekken, period. Any of the Tekken characters would make great minis, but for sure Yoshimitsu, I agree. Let's see. Phil plays Nasir and Technus, and he's going to be done there. Mark doesn't really play much, but when he plays, he has a Nasir army and a Hadros army. So I'd say Shalhan is a safe bet, because I'm really the only one that's playing it, and I play that as my main. So Shalhan, Hadros, yeah, Shalhan, Hadros, and Technus are all safe bets. But honestly, play what you want to play, because just play what you want to play, because everybody will have something. Yeah, even if you play Shalhan but you play a Celestial list, that's a very different list than, I was just describing that earlier tonight. It's a very different list than playing Enlightened. You know, Enlightened would be like Dragon Legion, the Lotus Warriors, and the Children. But yeah, I mean, Celestial Host, right? Like, how amazing is that? Like, this is like the most Scorn looking thing I've seen. I'm not gonna do mine red because it looks too Scorn, but look at the panda guys. You get a monkey guy and snake guys. Like, what's not to like about that? What's not to like about that? I might even start incorporating some of the specialists, although, you know, the way I play a lot, I rely a lot on Enlightened, but I would love to add a Celestial Trickster. Yeah, the sale's still on till the 27th. So I'm gonna, more than likely, I'm gonna order myself a second Celestial Host, and then I'm not sure what else I want to add. I really feel like the Celestials are a totally separate army, because once you start adding Celestials to the mix, why take Enlightened miniatures, right? You're gonna take the Celestials, and then you're gonna run. The best way to do it apparently would be to take an Enlightened core of, say, 12 Dragon Warriors. You take the Dragon Legionnaire, and then you take a 1 to 2 Shield of Telfon, right? And that's your block wall. Then you can add Celestials to that, and they would be totally separate. Now you don't have to worry about spacing with your Shield of Telfon, because they can't use that backlash anyway. And you just sort of use them as like the hammer to this. What boxes are needed for Celestials? Well, you can buy the Celestial Host. You can buy a Trickster. They also have the Celestial Gatekeepers, which are basically lion food creatures. This is gonna be so much fun to paint. Oh my god. And then this is the real reason why I want to run a Celestial Host is this dude right here. Damn, he's so damn cool. This guy. Oh my god. I must play Tiger Guy. Oh man. I think that's gonna be my new build. I'm gonna have to drop my my disco ladies, my lovely ladies, but it's gonna make me sad. Or oh shit. Or I take a Celestial Host, or take 2 Celestial Hosts with Tiger Guy leading them, and then take 2 Celestial Hosts would end up being, that's 12 ranks. We'll make it 18 ranks. 18 ranks of Celestial Hosts, so off the core, and then you just take and then your second leader would be the Iron Lotus Warrior, and then 6 chicks. You can get a lot done with 6 chicks. Damn it, if I order them, can I send them to your place while I'm still out? Yeah, no, yeah, that would be fine. Go for it. That's cool. I'll just tell my wife. It'll be, yeah, that's fine. If you need to do it, man. It's worth it, because it's like $100 for an entire army. For an entire army. I'm not just talking like enough to play. I'm talking entire faction. Totally worth it. I'm afraid to stand her up because she'll lean as the epoxy's setting. So she's gonna... I'm gonna have to put her like that, I guess. But yeah, they look pretty awesome. You can get a lot of things done with 6 chicks. Yeah, you can. That was the magic number, dude. I figured that out when I was playing. I would fill them in a giant block, and then you realize that's not the way to play those chicks. You play them like a cloud of girl. Like if the Dragon Legion are a wall, then those girls are like a cloud. And then they hang out. They just sort of lounge and they go, "Hey you got girlfriend Shell Han?" I was doing that all day today, and luckily nobody got super mad and strangled me. Should have asked Andrew how to explain how the points in the list building work out. Okay, I mean I can explain it to you. A game of and you can always download the rules. And there's 3 sides of games for Wrath of Kings, and it actually really structured in terms of how you purchase troops and leaders and specialists, right? So most of the time you're playing skirmish style games. That's the medium-sized game, right? And you have 18 ranks of infantry as a core. So right now in the game you have rank 1 infantry and you have rank 2 infantry. And if you get 18 ranks of infantry, well then obviously that means you get 18 rank 1 guys, or 9 rank 2 guys, or any combination of both, right? And here's the weird thing about Wrath of Kings. You don't actually buy squads. You're not buying a squad. You're buying individual guys, and then you're activating them around a squad leader. So don't worry about odd numbers or anything like that. So for example, today my list of my core list was 10 Dragon Legion, or 10 Chinamen, and 8 of the Lotus Warriors. So that's 18 ranks, 18 rank 1 miniatures. And then you get 3 ranks of leaders, so either 3 rank 1 leaders, or a rank 2 leader and a rank 1 leader. And then you get 2 ranks of specialists. That's the core. Then you have these options, and the options are set up in packages. Yes, they do. But there aren't point values, there are only ranks. So you just look at rank 1 or rank 2. That's all you really need to know. There's no point values. So if you go to the website Wrath of Kings, I think wrathofkings.cmon or something like that, you can download all your faction cards. You can download the rules. It's all there. Oh, well, I mean, let's say if you were playing a standard loadout Shell Han, what I would recommend doing is you buy the starter box, right? Because that's going to give you 12 Dragon Legion and 3 children, I believe. A starter box, a single starter box, is enough to play a skirmish level game. It's exactly enough, which is amazing. The starter box is enough to play the regular size game. And then so what you bare bones what you want to do is buy the starter box, and then buy probably a specialist box. If you're going to run Celestials, what I would recommend is buy a starter box and buy a Celestial box, and then buy And then look at the rules for either tricksters or gatekeepers and buy one of those two. With Lotus Warriors, well, Lotus Warriors do not come in the starter. So what you would do, if you really want to build around Lotus Warriors, is you buy a box of Lotus Warriors, then you buy the character box that has the Iron... No, wait, no, the Lotus Warrior box comes with Iron Lotus anyway. So you'd buy a box of Lotus Warriors and then add them either to the standard starter, or the other cool thing would be to add it to a Celestial box. Because I've been thinking about that build too. That would be pretty hot. Run a Celestial host with Lotus Warriors. You'd have no real defense, but you'd have a lot of offense. So, anyway. I'm tired, guys. I gotta get up in about 4-ish hours. And get up and drive a shitty car. Just my last rant for the night. Ford. How come a 2017 F-150 doesn't come standard with a backup camera? What the fuck, Ford? Like, it's 2017. Every fucking car has a backup camera. And you're trying to tell me your full-size pickup doesn't come with one standard? What the shit is wrong with you? You wonder why people don't trust American cars? That's why. Why do I have to download Android Auto when I should just be able to hook up to Bluetooth and be able to listen to my music in your car, Ford? What the fuck, man? Anyway. Yeah, Lotus Celestial. That's enough right there. And then just take a specialist box. And that's really your only decision, is what specialist box do you buy? Do you buy an Enlightened specialist box? You know, where you get the Shielded Tailfawn, which is the best rank 1 specialist in the game as far as I'm concerned. Or do you buy one of the Celestial specialist box? Yeah, found on road dead. That's right, sir. Anyway, I'm about ready to pass out, guys. But I do appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. I like we were able to do the simulcast. I wish I had more time to let these dry so I could prime them, but I'm going to work on them tomorrow night. So you'll see me do... Well, tomorrow night is going to be almost all airbrushing. So we're going to mount those guys. We're going to prime them. We're going to airbrush them, okay? So with that, we're going to call this feed to a close. Want to thank everybody for watching. Have a good night, guys. Once again, condolences, Jose. I'm sorry that your trip started off so bad. But hopefully it'll be dope by the time I get there. We'll have a few beers, a few laughs. We'll play some Guild Ball, okay? So with that, have a good night, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And we'll catch you on the next one.